Seems like every year when the spring season comes around, we begin talking about the housing market, always a popular time for people to put their homes on the market and look for new ones to purchase. So it's a good day for us to talk to Bruce Dodd over at People's Home Equity, because you can't get that house without getting the mortgage approved. Nice to talk to you this morning, Bruce.
Hey, it's good to talk to you.
So am I right that this is going to become kind of a busy season in your world, won't it?
Well, this time of year always picks up, and this year just things are so busy. It's been that way the last couple of years. It seems like when springtime gets here, people start listing more houses. People are interested in making moves. A lot of people like to move over the summer when kids aren't in school, that sort of thing. So yes, it absolutely starts getting busy this time of year.
I've talked to several realtors lately. I think all of them have said that in terms of number of houses sold, we've seen a steady intake. It's just that it's still very competitive about getting your bid to be the one accepted.
Well, it's a crazy situation when you're competing to give people money, especially when you're buying a house and you're giving them hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that's a competition. And so it's a little different than the way most of us think about buying something. So I think what's super important these days is you have to make decisions pretty quickly. And that means, it doesn't mean that you have to rush yourself. It means you have to do work ahead of time and make sure you're very clear about what's important to you. Make sure you're very clear about what your price points are, so that when that right house comes, you can make those decisions very quickly. But that doesn't mean you've rushed the decision. It just means you've done the work up front.
I met someone the other day who moved here from Maine, actually, and I think they had some specific things that they were looking for, but they had tried on a couple of houses and had not made it. So when the one that they did purchase came along, they were still in Maine, and they purchased it over the phone, essentially, online in 5 hours time. Are you hearing stories like that?
You see that a lot. You see a lot of folks, especially, we have so many people moving to our area. You have so many people now who can work remotely, who are making the decision that, hey, I don't have to live close to where I work. I can live anywhere I want. And Chattanooga seems to be winning a lot with that. And so you have a lot of those folks that, they bought the house looking at everything online, and they're under contract on a house they've never actually been in.
Right.
Happens a lot.
So if you're, let's say, a first-time home buyer, it's the biggest purchase you'll ever make in your life. So when you're talking to people, do you caution them to say, look, we want you to get a house, but don't do anything reckless?
Yeah, and so part of that becomes, once again, it's kind of like what I was alluding to earlier, is yes, you're going to have to make decisions quickly when the right house comes up, but that doesn't mean you're making quick decisions. It means you've done work ahead of time. You've made sure you understand the financial ramifications of it, so you're comfortable with payments, you're comfortable with how much money you're going to have to bring to closing, and you've thought through kind of what you need from the house. And what we really attempt to do is just make sure that we're doing all the work up front so you have no surprises.
Let's talk about the financial implications. You mentioned the calculations of what your payment's going to be. People tend to be sort of starstruck when those interest rates drop really low and concerned when they begin to inch back up again. But unless you're buying a really high-priced home, a half a percentage point in interest rate doesn't make that much of a difference?
Now, for most folks, for people, if you're looking at average sales prices in Chattanooga, it's not changing your life. Obviously, lower interest rate and a lower payment, that's desirable. But to put it in perspective, rates are right now not quite up to, they're about where they were prior to COVID, and we all thought rates were very good at that point. Mm-hmm. So from a historical standpoint, it's not like you're buying with like high interest rates. They're still very low historically. They're just not quite as low as they were a month or two ago.
I think I got about a minute and a half left. What's the formula that you should look for? Your mortgage should be, is it a third of your gross or your net?
Well, I think that's a different decision for each and every person. In terms of what's affordable for one person is different than another. It really depends on what other things you have going in life. And so Typically, you're looking for it to be about a third, and from an approvable standpoint, about a third of your gross income. However, is that the right number for each individual? No. In some cases, some people have very little debt. They're very frugal, so maybe they can actually spend a little more than that and have it be a totally responsible decision. Some people, they need to spend less than that because they have a whole lot of other things going on. So it's one of those things, we try to tailor that to what your particular situation is.
Well, here's where you can reach him so that he can tailor it to your particular situation. It's Bruce Dodd at People's Home Equity on East Brainerd Road, 591-9801, the phone number. Online, chatmortgage.com. Good chatting with you, my friend.
Hey, it was awesome. Thank you.